It was great. It was great to actually finish one off and against the caliber team that they are. They're one of the best teams in the league, so it's even greater. And to finish it on the note that we have, going into All-Star break is even better. I mean, it's always been a conversation since day one. I believe we can make it, and I believe we can make noise too. So it's on us to make that happen.
This is a team that you might play in the first round if you make it. What's it to do with confidence-wise?
It gives us a lot. It gives us a lot, knowing they can be beat on any given night, and we just have to play our basketball and stay the course.
The only thing I was worried about, to tell you the truth, was Avery's reaction when he thought he was about to get the ball. So I made the move. He was like, "Shit, Evan," and I was like, "You're gonna hug me in a second." I just felt really confident in that situation, and thank God it went in.
We're back for part two. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to listen on Sunday to Celtics Beat, the podcast on CLNS Radio. They're going to have Brent Barry on. Everybody loves Brent Barry. It should be a fun conversation. Last time he was on the show was actually a really good talk, so it'll be really cool to hear from him All-Star Weekend. So definitely listen to that.
Good timing
one.
with the dunk contest.
Absolutely.
That
champion.
dunk was crazy.
It was.
Doesn't get any respect.
So a dunk contest legend, even if nobody remembers that he was in the dunk contest.
Better than Jordan's.
All right,
Fact.
so
Not even an opinion.
I can't hear myself right now because there's a drill pounding the ice back there. So the Bruins are finally going to play after the Celtics are out of here. But we got to get out of here. So let's talk
There's
about.
ice, actually, but
We're going to talk about what could happen here in the second half of the season. Now, the Celtics are it was a game and a half out of the playoffs as of this recording. That's not going to change until a week from now anyway, so I don't know why I have to say that. But the Celtics have a legitimate shot of grabbing that 8th seed. Charlotte made the big move of getting Mo Williams, which is obviously a game changer in the East. But I'm being very sarcastic. I don't really think that's going to make a big difference in Charlotte's hopes. And, of course, they could be moving at Lance Stevenson for somebody that could help them maybe. So we'll see. I don't know if that button really worked there. You're kind of puffing out a little bit.
There's a wire. There's a lot going on here.
Just don't pay attention to that. But the point is that the Celtics, if they haven't really been playing that well. If they play a little bit better, they have a chance to make the playoffs here, especially if they make a move. Julian, how do you see that playing out down the stretch here?
How I see it playing out is that it's totally up to Ainge. We saw last year, guys like Courtney Lee move at the deadline, Jordan Crawford, who was one of the best players in the NBA at the time. That was a little sarcastic.
Good one.
Get it?
One of the best players in China now.
Seriously, though, it's going to be up to Ainge. If they keep this roster as is, and you have Brandon Bass and Tayshaun Prince and Marcus Thornton all contributing, and guys continue to develop, and guys like Turner and Smart get more comfortable in their role, the playoffs have a real chance of happening, and that, depending on your outlook, is a good or bad thing.
Yes.
Their draft pick may not vary that much, whether they're the 8th seed or one of the last couple teams out of the playoffs. It depends. Do you want that playoff excitement, or do you want those last couple ping pong balls that maybe you can just bounce into the number 1 spot somehow and win that lottery? Pick which way you want to go. But being in the middle, pick your poison, because being in the middle in the NBA is the last place that you want to be. So how it plays out is up to Ainge. If they can get some veterans out of here, maybe they can kind of drop down a little bit. But where they are, they have a legitimate shot of making the playoffs.
Yeah, it really is tough which way you go with it. I think if it is up to Ainge, obviously he's going to want to trade guys like Bass and Thornton and obviously Gerald Wallace, but that won't happen, to just acquire more, wait for it, assets and picks and expiring contracts, although he would be trading expiring contracts. He's not looking to make the playoffs. Danny Ainge is looking to make the playoffs. That said, if he can't get the right thing for what he's trying to acquire, I say roll with it. Roll with it and make the playoffs. Become the 8th seed. Maybe, if, like you said, if Charlotte's acquisition of Mo Williams doesn't do much, maybe even get the 7th seed. It would be good to instill a little bit of a winning culture with some of these young guys, like Smart and Sellinger, who didn't even get to play in the playoffs when he was injured. Obviously Olynyk. Get some of these guys acquainted with what playoff basketball is like, so when they do add a couple more pieces, they're not going in blind. They at least got a little bit of a clue. If you don't make the playoffs, you have a chance at the number 1 overall pick. But if you're gonna just miss the playoffs by a couple games and you're gonna end up with the 15th pick or 4th, you're not the Cavs. You're not gonna get that lucky. You know what I mean? Only the Cavs get that lucky. The difference between the last pick in the lottery and the worst pick in the playoffs is nothing. I'd rather make the playoffs and maybe you win a couple games, you make it interesting. And tonight's game was fun. I don't expect the Celtics to beat the Hawks in a 7-game series, but they at least made it fun, and you might get some fans back into it. Maybe you get a little national recognition because the Celtics don't play on national TV.
Yeah.
So those games you do, maybe a restricted free agent or unrestricted free agent sees Boston in a different way than maybe they did all throughout the season. Who knows? I mean, to me, you have so many picks. If Danny Ainge sees a guy a couple spots ahead of him in the draft, he can make that work with all the assets that he already has.
I mean, the Celtics have enough first-round picks in tow that if they want to move up in this draft, they could probably pull it off.
Right, exactly.
Now, we saw with tonight's game that if they face the Hawks, as long as the Hawks are late to every single game, they have a decent chance of beating them. But that's probably not going to happen unless it starts snowing in May or in late April.
You'll figure something out.
The one thing is you do always have that chance to move up, but you don't have a chance. Nobody's going to trade the number 1 overall pick. You always keep alive that chance of getting the number 1 overall pick.
Well, they're going to play the odds.
Can they be bad enough to really have a legitimate shot at the number 1 pick? Right now, they can't be. If they dump half their guys at the deadline, then
overall, I agree with you, Jimmy. If they're going to be, the 13th or 14th lottery position, just go for it, get into the playoffs, and you can work from there.
But that's the risk, I guess. It's the chance. It's a lottery.
If they start falling down in the standings and they can get into that, 6 range where they took Marcus Smart last year, drop. See what you can do with it.
Okay, really quickly here, 1-minute lightning rounds. Will he be here when we do our next episode, which is in about 2 weeks? Marcus Thornton, Julian, will he be here?
Yes, contract's too pricey for anyone to take him.
What do you say?
Tayshaun Prince.
No. They're going to try to trade him.
I think if he's not here, it might be because he gets bought out, not via trade. But
I agree with you on both of those. What about Brandon Bass? That's the toughest one.
I like Brandon Bass. I think he can definitely help the team, and if they want to make the playoffs, they need Bass. But I think he's the most likely to be traded because he can help a contender, and I'm kind of surprised he's still here. I'm looking at a team like the Blazers could really use Brandon Bass as the backup for them.
I totally agree with that, but I just think if Bass was going to be gone, he would be gone by now. He could help so many teams, and none of them seem to be interested. So I think he's here.
I think Bass is probably a deadline day guy. I'd see him moving here. Marcus Smart, Jared Sullinger. Cut from the team by the time we get back. Probably not.
Sullinger, yes.
That would be aggressive.
Smart, no.
Is there a chance that Jared Sullinger could get moved in a larger trade? Then?
No, I don't see any blockbusters going on right now.
Only if it was to get a significantly better player, an all-star type guy.
Who's going to make that trade for Sullinger right now?
Probably nobody.
Right, yeah.
You never know.
Nope.
Okay, that's it.
Non-issue.
Ballers, Evan Turner. Who's your baller?
I was going to say Turner, too.
Okay, good enough.
He won the freaking game for him. He's the baller.
He won the freaking game. It's good enough. I'll do Sullinger just so Sully gets recognition for his great game. We barely talked about that. So we're not going to see you for a while. We're going to have a ton of coverage, though, from New York, from All-Star Weekend. So we'll be putting up lots of videos on the CLNS Radio YouTube channel, on CLNS Radio, on Celtics blog, on SB Nation. You're going to see lots of coverage from me, and I'll Photoshop these guys' faces in or something like that from the video.
I wish I was there. I'm not going to be there.
We'll see you soon. It won't be a little while until the Celtics game, but we will be there when they have their next home game, and we will bring you more of the Garden Report that you love. So for Julian, for Jimmy, I'm Jared. Peace out.
I always feel like once I make a change or a move, I always feel like I have a defender where I want them. So I went one way, cut me off, and it's just pretty much a setup to get them on my hip or get my shoulder past their hip to get a shot. So I feel like every time I make a change in the direction, I'm pretty confident I got somebody where I want them.